Hi there, welcome to my YouTube channel. This is Tina from TinaHeals.com, and today we are talking about the upcoming Venus retrograde in Gemini. So this is the card of Venus, the card which is the Empress card, okay? And it is card number 3, the Empress, and this is the Lover's Tarot, and this is Venus. So before we get into the retrograde, let us understand the archetype of Venus, and especially Venus is your dominant planet. Or if you have, say for instance, Venus retrograde in your natal chart, this video will really guide you. It will also guide you to pivot through the mucky waters of Venus retrograde in Gemini, which is an extremely polarized sign. Okay, although Venus has dignity in air signs and she rules Libra, but in Gemini, Venus can be very polarized and contradictory. Okay, so the glyph of Venus is a mirror, and the mirror symbolizes Venus because she is everything feminine. Okay, she is reflecting our feminine nature back at us. If you want to know in detail about how to do Venus magic, then please check out my how to do Venus magic video. It will explain to you exactly how to go about invoking Venus and her energies into your life. So the day of Venus is Friday today while I am doing this video, and the astrological hours that belong to her are the 1st hour and the 8th astrological hour. So doing any kind of Venus magic on these hours and on the day of Venus will give you the best benefits, will give you the maximum benefits when invoking Venus. However, if you want to do Venus magic, it is not advisable to do so, especially spells, Venusian spells, not advisable to do so when Venus is out of bounds or when Venus is retrograde, because then you will always get conflicted results. So Venus is our desire principle, what we desire, what we crave for, okay, what we are attracted to. Venus is essentially seduction, our seductive nature, the feminine seductive nature. Okay, the moon is the other feminine archetype in astrology, and she's more the mother. The moon is more the mother and more about childbirth and menstrual cycles. But Venus is more playful, and Venus is essentially the art of seduction. Okay, she's also fertility, because Venus in your chart will tell you all about your childbearing abilities for both men and women. In a man's chart, Venus will tell you what kind of a woman he's attracted to. In a man's chart, in a woman's chart, it will reveal to you what kind of lover she is. Okay, so Venus is gentleness, softness, refinement, lust, love, the tug and pull of attraction, right? Almost magnetic attraction, sexual connection, how we connect sexually to our lovers, how we give love to them, how we make love is also Venus. Our pleasure principle, how we pleasure ourselves and others, and how we are pleasured in return, is also Venus, right? It is family bliss, is in conjugal bliss. It is our dress sense, the way we dress, the clothes we wear, the jewelry we wear, the accessories we wear, the bags we carry, all of that is Venus, right? Venus is also music and dancing, right? Music, dancing, all forms of creativity and poetry, right? Venus is not just about the feminine beauty, but Venus is about how we appreciate beauty that the universe has created, the universal beauty and the harmony in nature and the harmony in the universal cyclical creation. That is also Venus, right? It is how we connect to our romantic lovers. I told you that. How we love them, what we expect from them. A lot of that is revealed by our Venus, how we relax. Okay, what we love to do in our leisure time is Venus. The music we listen to, right? What soothes us, the kind of foods we savor. Venus is sweet, right? The metal she rules is copper. So Venusian talismans always created with either brass or copper, right? And she's the lesser benefic, Jupiter being the greater benefic, and she functions better in a night chart, whereas Jupiter functions better in a day chart, okay? She's cold and moist. So immediately you understand the fertility of the whole Venusian concept, the fertility of the archetype, right? She rules Libra and Taurus, okay? She is Venus Aphrodite as the ruler of Taurus, earthy, central, because Taurus is a fixed earth sign, and you know, the glyph is the bull, so kind of stable, fixed. And the other Venus is the ruler of Libra, and she's Venus Urania, right, from Uranus. So Venus Urania is because, you know, Saturn castrated his father, and from his sperm brought forth the birth of Aphrodite. So Venus Urania is Venus in Libra, Libra's cardinal air. Okay, if you see how both these signs, Taurus is feminine, nocturnal, Libra is masculine, diurnal. But you see how they are so concerned with form and the beauty in form. Taurus is more grounded, whereas Venus in Libra is more cerebral, right? More intellectual. Everything is happening right here. Okay, she's exalted in Pisces on the 27th degree of Pisces. Okay, interestingly, water signs are all about connection, memories, reflection, and Venus is a connecting principle, the principle that harmonizes all relationships. That's why she does so well in Pisces. Okay, and of course the higher octave of Venus is Neptune, who is the modern ruler of Pisces, and Jupiter is the traditional ruler of Pisces, and he is almost like a big brother to Venus because he is the greater benefic, right? She is in detriment in Scorpio because, you know, anytime a planet rules a particular sign, in the opposite sign, the planet is in detriment. So she rules Taurus, so immediately in Scorpio, she's in detriment. And here she rules Libra, so immediately in Aries, she's in detriment. But I personally think that Venus in Scorpio is more difficult to really dig into the archetype and explore the archetype, okay? Venus is in fall in Virgo, the mutable earth sign of Virgo, and I smile because that is my placement. I have Venus in fall in Virgo. And interestingly, it is on my first house. Now, in the Vedic culture, if you are born with Venus on your rising or on your ascendant degree, then you are someone of noble birth, or what is known as Brahmins. So I am by birth a Brahmin, and I have my Venus conjunct my rising, you know. So that's quite interesting. Also, the Vedic archetype of Venus is masculine, not feminine, and known as Shukra. And Shukra is the god of semen, okay, and conjugal bliss and all of that. The archetype is very similar, except that Shukra also brings back dead people. Okay, so there's something to that we will dig into when we talk about the retrograde. That's what Venus is trying to do. Dead is again metaphoric, of course. So the rose, if you have a 5th house Venus, you can expect your first child to be a girl. All right. My partner has his Venus in the 5th in Pisces, and our first baby was a girl. So the rose and the apple are sacred to Venus. So on Friday, if on your altar you offer, rose quartz is symbolic of Venus. So even if you don't have an image, which you can completely use the Empress card on your altar on Fridays and offer apples and roses. She's going to be very happy. Now, in the tradition of astrological magic, the image of Venus is a beautiful young girl. Okay, in one hand she holds a comb and in another she holds an apple, and her hair is flowing. Okay, and the apple reminds me instantly of Eve. Okay, so you see the connection, the feminine principle and apple. It is deeply symbolic. Of course, the pomegranate is also very, very sacred to Venus. And we see the pomegranate being used in very many cultures. The Greco-Roman culture, the Persians use pomegranate in most of their religious ceremonies. So pomegranate is also sacred to Venus. Now, when you are praying to Venus on your altar on the day of Venus, you have to suffumigate. That is, saging is suffumigation. When you light a particular incense and the smoke comes out, that is called suffumigation. So what suffumigation should you use for Venus? Everything that is fragrant, rose, violets, jasmine, mogra, all those smells. Very fragrant smells are all Venusian, in fact. Very sweet things are Venusian too. Now, Venus is the source of flavor. So what we eat and how we taste is Venus again. Venus rules grammar. Can you believe that? Grammar and the art of measuring sound and song. So composition. Venus rules composition. In the internal organs, she rules the right nostrils, right? And the genitalia, of course, because it's procreation and conjugal bliss and all that. And the sperm is also ruled by Venus. So problematic Venus can mean a problematic sperm count, or infertility in short, or erectile dysfunction in short, okay? So if you're going through these problems, it could be because you have a depressed Venus. If you're trying to conceive and you're a woman and you can't, then invoke Venus, because she is going to give you a fertility. Okay, even for any creative work, you need to invoke Venus. Beauty work, all of that. Of course, the stomach, she rules the stomach, and from her come the virtue and flavor in eating and drinking. So when we eat and we drink and we enjoy ourselves, that is Venusian. So when we have a very, say Jupiter square Venus, then, the eating and drinking can be too much, okay? Everything coming in touch with Jupiter expands. So Venus is the flavor of food and how we feel. So if you have, say, a Venus going through our sixth house, we may crave for very sweet things. Sixth house is the diet, so on and so forth. Venus rules in religions Islam, okay? And of course you can see that because her day is Friday, and the day that is sacred to the Muslims is Friday as well. That is, they call it Juma, and they do namaz on that day, looking at the Kaaba. Venus likes colorful clothes, of course, because she's a beautiful girl, so she loves colorful clothes. And Venus rules places where we humans seek healing, okay? So retreats, camps, yoga camps, astrological retreats, all of that. Parlors, she rules parlors. Okay, so if you have a parlor, if you have a beauty business, invoking Venus could be really beneficial for you. Restaurants. I mean, the parlor is more maybe Libra, but even Taurus, but the restaurant is definitely Taurus, right? She also in precious stones, she rules pearls and lapis lazuli. I love lapis lazuli. She loves, if you're making offerings for her, give her saffron offerings. In whatever sweet things you make, put saffron on top. or saffron face packs on Fridays can be really beneficial. On Friday and on the hour of Venus, if you make an image, right, of a woman with the head of a bird and feet of an eagle, and if you write O A O I O A, everyone will love you. Okay, so let me see if I got a pen over here I can show it to you. I'm not sure. I don't, yeah, okay. So I'm going to show you what to write so people will just like really be attracted to you. Okay, green is more Mercury's color. Red, yeah, okay, I could use that. It's Mars color. So yeah, so let me show you what I mean. Okay, let me write it in my hand and I will show you what you can write to invoke Venus. Okay, so once you do this, if you make an image of this young woman with the face of a bird and feet of an eagle, and if you write on below that image this, then everybody will love you. All you need to do is suffumigate that image every Friday during the astrological hour that's pertinent to Venus, and you will find love and acceptance everywhere. Beautiful, right? Now, Venus is our five senses, okay? I've told you many times how Venus seduces us into incarnation by giving us these five senses. If you look at the dance of Venus to the skies, you will see how she draws this 5-petal pentagram. Okay, and the pentagram is representative of our five senses, right? Now, Venus retrograde. Venus retrograde is all about going inwards. I've explained to you the archetype of Venus. So everything that has to do with relationships, and Venus also rules finances. Taurus rules finances, banking, okay, food stuff, all food, agriculture, Taurus. Libra is more architecture, beauty, and all of that, ruled by Venus, right? So it's like going inwards with these issues. And she goes every 18 months for 40 days, Venus goes retrograde in any particular sign. And this time she's going retrograde in Gemini. And the last time she was retrograde in Gemini was in 2012. Right? And here we are back to that particular point. So if you go back in time and if you check what was going on for you in 2012, you will see that certain similar things will pop up for you, right? Now for 40 days she goes retrograde. So this could be very challenging for, I said, love, finances, and it's almost like going into a cave inside of you. Okay, it could be, it could mean that your partner gets extra needy or you get extra needy. Both of you are sensitive. There are fights, there are problems when it comes to communication. Venus connects. So Venus retrograde means either you reflect on how you connect and connect better, or you just do not connect. There's a disconnect. Okay, and I've always told you that Venus retrogrades, any retrograde actually is very powerful, okay, because they take us on an inward journey. It's important to be outgoing, yang, but retrogradation is inversion, it's yin, it's the feminine. Venus is feminine, but this is going more yin, if that's even possible. It is, okay? Now, we could be very sensitive, very picky, very prickly, get pissed off at anything anybody says. Believe me, that can happen. Also, with this placement, we may want to change the way we look, something about the way we look, but don't get anything permanent during Venus retrogrades. Don't get that surgery or get that tattoo now. Think about it, mull over it, but get back to it once Venus clears shadow, right? So the retrogradation of Venus is actually the rebirth of Venus, right? Rebirth. And by Venus remaining in the same span or same degrees for months on end and going back and forth, this is a time of dredging up our unconscious and all the patterns that we've developed over the years with regards to relationships and finances. So Venus is going back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, and she's sort of dredging up all these archetypes, okay, that you know, wherever it falls for you. For me, Gemini is my 10th house, my midheaven. So if it's your 5th house, it's very much about romance and children, okay? And Venus is digging deep into the foundation to sort of, you know, romantic, financial, to clear out these patterns. She's unearthing hidden stuff and revealing, okay, this is how it was and it was not working. And you suddenly realize that, oh my God, it was not working. It doesn't mean you have to have a divorce or you have to break up, but it could mean that you figure out how to better your relationship or your finances with the Venus retrograde, okay? Now, Gemini. Let us understand Gemini. Gemini is mutable air ruled by Mercury, right? So this is a very, you know, a very, how shall I say, contradictory energy. If you look at the glyph of Gemini, two twins, okay, and even in the body, Gemini rules the lungs and the arms. So with Gemini, there's the breakup of the physical body as well. So immediately we fall into duality with Gemini, right? And Gemini has a huge range because it is all about communication. In fact, all the 12 signs have a bit of Gemini in them, because nothing in 3D can happen without communication. And Gemini is the boss of communication, has a really long range. So here it deals with siblings, it deals with travel, short distance travel, whereas Sagittarius' polarity is long distance travel. Okay, studying, like, you know, Sagittarius is higher university education. This is maybe, you know, more school or some sort of vocational training. So Venus retrogradation could bring up problems with siblings or short distance travel. Now with the quarantine, it's like your short distance, long distance travel is almost stopped because the whole world is practically quarantined. So Venus is going retrograde right now. So it's very, very interesting to see what unconscious patterns she dredges up for us to assimilate and integrate with this, right? Now Venus is going to explore the full spectrum here, okay, the full range. There's no cutting short. Gemini is full of contradictions, Mercury can be quite the trickster. And Gemini is youthful energy, okay, youthful energy, and does not have the patience. So, you know, you see that could be a problem. And Gemini is very conflicted about emotions. And Venus being exalted in Pisces, Venus is definitely about emotions, okay. Venus is going to start digging into this archetype of Gemini as she starts this retrogradation, and she's going to dig, and she's going to bring out all these emotional contradictions to the surface for us to stare at and to realize, okay, this is what was going wrong. This is where I need to change my game, basically, right? Now, interestingly, yes, this can be very polarized, but this can make Gemini more honest with emotions and you know, really touch base with your emotional self, right? You need, for an overall psyche to be functional, you need to also touch base with your emotions. That's what Venus in Gemini is going to teach us. There's this love and hate aspect, like, okay, I love this person or I hate this person. The 2 minutes I hate this person. Gemini can be like that. They're your best friend now, and the next minute they are, you know, they are out the door and they're saying, why I hate that person. This is possible with Gemini. So with Venus being our romantic expression, we could, like, for one minute think that, oh, we love this person or we really like this person, then feel polarized when they're gone, like, oh, we don't really like them, you know, we don't really want to be with them. That's very possible. Like, you want to get married, but you still want your independence and you want to be single. That is, you know, that I think that is the natal placement. If you have this natal placement with Venus in Gemini, you feel that way. You're very difficult to, it's very difficult for you to commit to relationships. It could also be about two lovers, the twins of Gemini. So you could be like juggling two lovers, or maybe, you know, multiple lovers, or maybe having two career choices. Like, you know, what do I do? Do I do this or do I do that? You know, you don't know. Think of the two. And Venus is the pentacle suit in the tarot, by the way. So think of the two of pentacles. This person juggling these two pentacles. So that could be Venus in Gemini energy. It also polarizes the feminine with the masculine within us. So, of course, gender issues could pop up, or you're not comfortable with your gender, or you want to explore the other gender. That is very possible. Cross-dressing and all of that, you know, it's very possible with this. Now, interestingly, you need to integrate the feminine and the masculine within, like the higher self and the lower self. That is also Gemini. So Venus here will be exploring themes of the higher self and the you know, pulling down of the lower self as well. This can go back and forth, back and forth. Venus is women. So when Venus goes retrograde, women's rights can pop up, abortion issues can pop up, okay? Because Venus in the air signs can sometimes mean abortion, okay, also. There could be disruptions in, of course, tech, travel, because Mercury is tech, travel. In fact, Mercury is money now. It's not solid gold or currency anymore, but it's just zeros and ones on your computer. So money is very mercurial. So Venus and Mercury together are going to create, Mercurial Gemini are going to create something together with regards to finances, okay? Meetings could be disrupted. Travel is disrupted for most people this whole year practically, and who knows what's going to happen. But 21st, I'm hopeful, December, you know, things should really clear up. There could be problems with discussion and communication breakdown, and, you know, problems with friends or siblings. Or, of course, the resolution can happen too, because ultimately Venus wants to connect. So, you know, she could give you the resolution, very, very much so. Don't forget that. With Venus in Gemini, unconventional sexual desires can originate. Or if you've kept them suppressed, they could originate. Maybe, you know, stuff like bondage, sadomasochism, stuff like shibari, or, you know, just cross-dressing, like I said. All kinds of kinks could surface, or polyamory, or, you know, threesomes and stuff like that. Very possible with this energy. Now, if you really think of air, the element of air, air is how we put words into things, okay? Fire is more connected to the imaginal creative plane, but we need air to articulate that imaginal plane. And Gemini wants to articulate everything. So this Venus retrograde is going to be very interesting for what it articulates at a time like this, when the world is in lockdown because of the coronavirus, COVID-19. Now, okay, Venus retrograde in the natal chart. If you have Venus retrograde in the natal chart, it could mean problems with interpersonal relationships, conflicts in interpersonal relationships with your lovers, or any interpersonal relationship really, okay? Also, of course, money. Venus retrograde could mean money, or maybe multiple lovers and no one's really settling down with you. The thing with Venus retrograde in the natal chart, you want connection, you want to be valued, but you don't value yourself enough. So this takes time and integration of the archetype to truly flourish when you have a Venus retrograde in your natal chart, in terms of finding lovers, or in terms of, you know, money. That is something. But you're worthy, remember that. There could be unfulfilled desires that pop up, like I said, and new ways of solving these issues, because this is a new world. And Venus is going retrograde in an air sign, and Saturn is in an air sign, and Mars is in an air sign. So it's all about the intellect, it's all about communication, and it's all about ideas. What ideas do you have? So please like, because YouTube puts the video up for circulation. If the algorithm puts the video up for circulation if you thumbs up. So thumbs up, like, subscribe, and comment below and to let me know what you think. Visit my website to book a reading. Thank you.